10 Thai BL couples who once dominated our stages, screens, and hearts, but in 2025, they're no longer together. Some quietly broke up, some quietly fell silent, but each story shocked fans. And trust me, couple number 5 will shock you the most. Their journey took an unexpected turn, and you won't want to miss it. Join us as we count down the breakups that changed BL history. In Thai boys' love dramas, there are few couples who make audiences' hearts flutter as quickly and intensely as Toptap and Sunny Wanarat. They are more than just co-stars. They exude the kind of chemistry that makes love at first sight possible. Every frame they share is on fire. Playful banter, soft smiles, and glances that say more than any line of dialogue. For a while, it felt like they were destined to be the next power couple. Proof that sometimes two people meet on screen and turn a moment into a movement that fans carry with them long after the credits roll. But like many stories in showbiz, the magic wasn't built to last. After several months of speculation, Toptap made it official. Sunny was heading in a solo direction. He confirmed what fans had been whispering about for a long time, that the two would no longer continue working as a team. His words were direct, almost businesslike, but behind them fans could sense a bittersweet truth. The era of Toptap and Sunny as a pair was officially over. For international fans, especially those in the US who were new to Thai romances on YouTube and Netflix, the news was devastating. Social media was flooded with heartbroken emojis, nostalgic videos of their best moments, and open letters begging for a reunion. Some even compared the breakup to classic American pop culture breakups. Boy band members going solo, beloved TV co-stars pursuing different paths. It was a mix of sadness and respect, an acceptance that the duo might be over, coupled with a belief that their future still held promise. New roles, new stages, and new chapters worth supporting. Sunny, ever charismatic, leaned into his solo journey with confidence. His Instagram transformed into a showcase of individuality. New projects, personal style, and a fresh energy that said, "This is who I am," beyond the duo. Toptap, meanwhile, navigated carefully, showing support but also redefining himself as a standalone actor and personality. For fans, watching them carve separate paths was like witnessing a friendship slowly shift into something more distant. Not broken, but undeniably changed. What made this breakup so fascinating wasn't just the end itself, but what it represented. In the Thai BL scene, pairings are often curated, polished, and heavily marketed. But when one half chooses to step away, it forces fans to confront the reality. These actors are not bound forever. They have dreams, ambitions, and sometimes those don't align with the fandom's desires. It's a reminder, much like in Hollywood, that behind every ship are real people making real choices. And yet, nostalgia is a powerful force. Even as both Toptap and Sunny walk their own paths, fans still revisit their old clips, rewatch interviews, and flood comment sections with hope that maybe one day they'll share a project again. It's the kind of hope that keeps fandom culture alive. The belief in reunions, in comebacks, in the possibility that what once made us smile might do so again. In the end, the Toptap Sunny story is less about loss and more about evolution. They gave audiences something unforgettable, and even if they never stand side by side on stage again, their legacy as a duo remains intact. Their chemistry, their laughter, their shared moments, they're all preserved in the digital archives of fandom, ready to be rediscovered by the next wave of viewers. And that's the beauty of modern BL culture. Even when partnerships fade, the memories never really leave. For now, Toptap and Sunny belong to different chapters of the story, but their names will always be linked, a reminder of what once was, and what might still be, somewhere down the road, if fate and casting directors ever decide to give fans the reunion they dream of. There are some stories that don't need headlines or fancy words to matter. Jaffa Chara and First Chalongrat were one of those stories. To fans, they were simply J First, two young guys who made us believe in connection, in warmth, and that quiet kind of love that sneaks up on you. Watching them together felt less like entertainment and more like comfort. It was the same feeling as hearing an old country song on the radio when you're driving down a quiet highway. Simple, honest, familiar. Ja's departure from 888 wasn't a big deal. It felt like life was just going on its way. One door closes, another opens. But for those who watched every moment, it felt a little pang. Ja and First were no longer under the same roof. They were still moving on, just on separate paths. It's like watching childhood friends graduate and drift off to different colleges. Nothing broken, just different. What made J First special wasn't just their on-screen roles. It was the way they laughed with each other when the cameras weren't trying so hard. The little inside jokes, the glances that felt unplanned. That's what fans held on to. The small pieces that look like real life breaking through the script. And when you lose that, it's not like losing a TV show. It's like losing a rhythm you'd gotten used to. I've seen American duos split before. Bands breaking up, talk show co-hosts saying goodbye, TV couples who never reunite on screen again. Every time the story feels the same. People move on, careers branch out, dreams call in different directions. And yet, people still talk about them years later. Because the connection was real while it lasted, and you can't erase that. That's how Ja First feels to me. Ja has been stepping into roles that stretch him, trying on darker edges, proving he's more than the smile we first fell for. First has carried his own weight too, showing he can command the screen alone. Watching them grow separately is like seeing your kids leave home. It hurts a little, but you're proud all the same. Fans keep the flame alive in ways only fans know how. Edits, stories, late-night replays of old interviews. Some of us still whisper maybe someday, and maybe that's enough. Because the truth is, Jeff First gave us something we can hold on to long after the posters fade. They gave us the feeling that love, friendship, and connection, even if temporary, are worth believing in. Here in 2025, when I look back on them, I don't think about contracts or companies. I think about two people who shared a chapter that made a lot of strangers across the world feel a little less alone. That's not marketing. That's not industry. That's just human. And that's why J First will always matter, even if we never see them walk the same stage again. If Ja and First could hear one thing from their fans right now, what would you want to say to them? And while you're at it, drop a comment and let us know. Where in the world are you watching this video from? Some on-screen pairings are truly remarkable, and Jeff Satter and Barcode Tinnisit are exactly that. Since Kinporsche, the series debuted in 2022, their chemistry has lit up living rooms around the world. Jeff's soulful voice and easy charisma blend with Barcode's youthful energy and deep charm, creating a near-perfect match. As Kim and Porche, their scenes are more than just romantic melodies. They're cultural markers, moments that fans revisit, quote, and incorporate into playlists and fan art. A kind of on-screen magic that escapes the frame and lives on. Their chemistry doesn't stop on screen. Kinporsche's concerts, fan meetings, and world tours have proven their chemistry. In Bangkok, Manila, and even sold-out nights in Los Angeles, you could hear fans chanting their names in unison, holding up banners that combined Jeff and Barcode into one. It felt like watching a rock band at its peak, the energy flowing between them and the audience in a feedback loop of love and devotion. The entertainment industry rarely lets magic last forever. First came the news of Jeff leaving Beyond Cloud, shocking but somehow bearable because Barcode was still there, carrying the flame. Then, in May 2024, Barcode announced his departure. The second shock was like a movie ending. Abrupt, dramatic, irreversible. With no common companion, the foundation that held them together was shattered. No more automated fan meetings, no more easy duets. Just two artists walking down separate hallways, carrying the light with them. It wasn't a scandal. It wasn't a betrayal. In many ways, it was more heartbreaking than that. It was simply life moving on. Jeff focused more on music, releasing singles that proved he could fill a stage with just his voice and guitar. Barcode continued to take on new acting opportunities, taking on roles that allowed him to grow in front of the camera. They didn't stop shining, they just stopped shining together. Fans never forgot, though. The hashtag #JeffBarcode trended whenever one of them posted something that brought back a memory. Old clips of Kin Porsche received millions of views, and edits of their concert duets were shared on TikTok like newly discovered treasures. In the US, fans compared them to legendary TV couples who moved on after a show ended, always remembered, always wanted, even if reality said otherwise. What makes their story so compelling is the sense of unfinished business. Watching them on stage during the Kin Porsche World Tour felt like the beginning of something bigger. A prelude, rather than an end. But now in 2025, we look back and realize it was the culmination. The performance ended quicker than anyone expected, leaving applause that still echoes in the auditorium. And perhaps that's why Jeff and Barcode are so important. They remind us of the fleeting nature of fame, of chemistry, of moments that can't be bottled or recreated. It's also why we rewatch old movies, listen to concert recordings, and talk about what-ifs late into the night. Because deep down, we know that when magic happens, even just once, it's worth remembering forever. Jeff Satter and Barcode Tinnisit may no longer be on stage together, but their story is etched into Thai boys' love history like an unforgettable piece of film. Their names, forever linked together, remind us that sometimes the strongest relationships are the ones that end too soon. If you feel the same way, don't just keep it to yourself. Leave a comment, share your favorite J-First moment, and let us know if you'd like to see them reunite someday. And while you're here, like and subscribe so you don't miss the next chapter in our countdown of Thailand's most unforgettable boys' love couples. There are some names that bring back a flood of memories the moment you hear them. For me, Kim Kop does exactly that. Kim and Waradam and Copter weren't just co-stars or bandmates. They were the heartbeat of a moment in Thai boys' love history that felt larger than life. Back when Two Moons aired, it wasn't only about the story on screen, it was about watching these two carry themselves like they'd been destined to share a stage. Their chemistry wasn't loud or forced, it was steady, like a rhythm you could lean into. And then SB5 came along. For international fans, it felt like we weren't just watching actors anymore, we were watching idols. Kim and Copter, along with their bandmates, became symbols of a new era where boy love stars could sing, dance, and tour like K-pop artists. The stage lights, the raucous crowds, the banners flying everywhere, it all became part of the Kim Kop story. Watching them perform live felt like a strange dream where music, friendship, and love merged into one bright stream. And for a few emotional hours, we were all caught up. There was that unforgettable Asia tour. In Manila, the cheers for Kim Kop nearly drowned out the music itself. In Hong Kong, fans held up glowing signs, their names stitched together in neon. And in Bangkok, the home stage, you could feel the pride radiating off them as they sang, laughed, and exchanged glances that seemed to belong to no one but themselves. For a fan, those were the golden days. Days when Kim Kop wasn't just a pairing, they were a promise. But promises in the entertainment world are fragile. In April 2023, Copter announced he was leaving Star Hunter, and with that decision, the fabric that held KimCop together began to unravel. Soon after, SBF5 itself slipped quietly into hiatus, its once booming presence fading from schedules and marquees. For the first time in years, the certainty of seeing Kimmin and Copter standing shoulder to shoulder at events disappeared. The silence that followed was deafening. I don't dwell on the ending. I remember how they made fans feel in the big moments. The lines for autographs, the laughter during interviews, the way a joke could get the crowd fired up. We'd go on Twitter after shows to exchange photos and relive the night in shaky, grainy clips. That's what lingered, not the contract or the company, but the feeling of belonging to something bigger than ourselves. A bright little era we built together and carried on like a song in our hearts. In America, we've seen this before. Beloved boy bands break apart, duos chase solo careers, but the memories of their peak stay frozen in time. That's what KimCop gave us. Even if the band has scattered and the schedules no longer align, there will always be a part of us replaying those concerts, those interviews, those endless fan projects where we believed they were unstoppable. Kimmin Waradam and Copter Panuat may not walk the same stage anymore, but for those of us who were there, they'll always be more than just a memory. They'll be the sound of a crowd screaming in unison, the sight of two young men shining under the same spotlight, the comfort of a time when everything felt whole. And that's the beauty of it. You don't need them to last forever to know that what they gave was real. KimCop was never just a ship or a project. It was a chapter. And for fans around the world, it's a chapter we'll never stop rereading, long after the final curtain closed. If Thai Boy's Love had its own late-night comedy monologue, the opening joke would probably go something like this. Remember when Perth and Saint were the hottest couple on screen? Yeah. Well, blink and you missed it, because Hollywood doesn't hold the monopoly on messy management drama. Cue the laugh track, because what happened to Perth Saint was both tragic and oddly predictable in the world of entertainment. Let's go back to Love by Chance. It wasn't just another BL drama. It was the one that took Perth Tanapon and Saint Supapong to new heights. Their chemistry was so intense it could melt steel, and fans shipped them so passionately that hashtags trended across continents. For a while, Perth Saint felt like a runaway train that no one wanted to slow down. Panels, fan meetings, interviews, a cross-country parade of blushing glances and shoulder bumps. People weren't just watching a show. They were witnessing a phenomenon, a fan community that was building itself in real time and inviting everyone to join in. But then came the behind-the-scenes drama. Because of course there was. Management issues, scheduling conflicts, and enough contract confusion to make even the most seasoned Hollywood lawyers sigh. Suddenly, Saint wasn't in Love by Chance too. And fans? Let's just say the meltdown made the Area 51 raid look like a polite book club gathering. Twitter was on fire. Instagram looked like a digital candlelight vigil. People were writing think pieces longer than college dissertations. Meanwhile, Perth had to keep going, because that's showbiz, kid. He carried the sequel, smiling through the storm while everyone in the audience whispered, "But where's Saint?" Imagine tuning in to Friends, only to find out Ross got recast halfway through season 2. That's the vibe. Perth did his best, but for diehard Perth Saint fans, the magic was gone. And let's talk about the fans for a moment. Americans like to think they invented drama, but the Thai Boys Love fandom has proven otherwise. Some are clamoring for a reunion like it's a presidential campaign. Others are swearing off the brand entirely, pledging allegiance to Saint or Perth like teams in a messy celebrity divorce. You can't scroll 2 inches without stumbling across a controversial topic. Honestly, If social media outrage were an Olympic sport, Perth Saint fans would have taken home the gold medal, and probably set a world record too. To their credit, both guys bounced back. Saint went on to do his own projects, proving he could shine without the anchor of a popular pairing. Perth kept building his career, proving he could carry the weight of leading roles and charm an audience on his own. If this were a late-night bit, it would be the part where we roll a fake trailer. Coming soon, two stars separated by contracts but united by memes. And here's the punchline. Even in 2025, people are still talking about them. Fans still share clips like contraband, still edit together Perth Saint moments as if we're living in an alternate timeline where season 2 went differently. That's the thing about boys love pairings. They don't just vanish, they haunt us like catchy pop songs you can't escape on the radio. Maybe it's that the entertainment industry, whether in Bangkok or Los Angeles, loves to build duos and then watch them implode. Or maybe it's simply that Perth and Saint were just too good together, too explosive to last long. Either way, their story has all the ingredients of late-night comedy gold: chemistry, chaos, and a fan base that refuses to let go. Perth Saint might be history, but they're the kind of history people keep telling jokes about at parties. They're the remember when moment that still sparks debates, memes, and maybe even a little hope that one day, somehow, we'll get the reunion nobody dares bet against. And until then, we laugh, we cry, and we keep replaying season 1 like it's a comfort sitcom rerun. There are stories that feel more like destiny than drama. When Two Moons, the series first aired in 2017, God Itapat and Bas Suradet stepped into roles that seemed preordained. As Fa and Wayo, they were more than just characters, they were a love letter born. Their chemistry burned slowly but surely, like a candle flickering in a quiet room, drawing the audience into a world of lingering glances and words heavy with unspoken promises. Over the course of a year, it seemed as if God Boss belonged not just to Thailand, but to every corner of the world. Fan meetings became pilgrimages, conventions became celebrations. Bass's shy smile, combined with God's unwavering confidence, gave fans the kind of story they didn't just watch, they lived. There were posters on bedroom walls, soundtrack playlists made up of original songs, and hashtags connecting strangers all over the world. For many, Two Moons was more than just a TV show. It was a first love captured on screen. And then, just as quickly as it began, the universe changed. When Two Moons 2 was announced, everything fans had believed in was gone. The cast was replaced, the storyline was broken. God and Baz were no longer in the spotlight together. The steady rhythm of the past had become silent. For those who loved God Bass, it felt like waking up from a dream they weren't ready to leave. The film is not a scandal, it's an absence. There are no sensational headlines, no heated arguments. Just an empty stage where two names once echoed together. In the world of romance novels, this is the chapter where lovers are torn apart, not by choice, but by circumstance. And for fans, it's all the more painful because there's no closure, no happy ending. Only the haunting of what might have been had the story continued. We've seen couples in novels and movies suffer the same cruel blow, starved lovers torn apart by war, distance, family. But here, it's the contract and the casting decision that caused the rift. Yet the pain is the same. Fans grieve as if something private has been stolen, because in a way, it has been stolen. God Boss is not just a story about two actors. It's about the hope they brought to the millions of people who believed in their story. Both men moved on, as every story demands. Boz embarked on new projects, exploring roles that highlighted his warmth and vulnerability. God took the opportunity to expand his appeal beyond boys' love. They grew, they changed, they thrived. But no matter what new path they took, a segment of the audience always remembered Fa and Wayo, as if rereading the first chapter of a book that was never really finished. Even now, in 2025, the echoes are still there. Fans still whisper their names to each other. Their most iconic scenes resurface on TikTok, accompanied by ballads that make viewers' hearts ache all over again. That's the essence of a romance novel. You know the lovers are gone, but you still reread the pages they shared, because those moments are eternal. Godbaz may no longer share the stage, but their story remains etched in the memories of a generation of fans. They remind us that sometimes love isn't about forever. It's about intensity, about the fire of a moment that changes you and never lets go completely. And that's why, long after the curtain has closed, God Itapat and Bas Suradet remain legends. Not because they've endured, but because, like all unforgettable romances, they taught us that even the shortest chapters can leave the deepest scars on the heart. If Thai boys' love couples were sports teams, then Krist and Singto Perchaya would be the dynasty everyone thought had ended, only to stage the kind of comeback that makes highlight reels for decades. Back in the late 2010s, Krist and Singto were unstoppable. Their series Sodas didn't just rack up views, it created a movement. Their fan meetings sold out like playoff tickets. Their interviews were replayed like post-game analyses. They weren't just co-stars, they were an all-star duo. Then came the drought years. From 2020 to 2023, Krist and Singto rarely appeared together, like watching your favorite team sit on the bench in the middle of a peak season. Rumors circulated, speculation ran rampant, and each rare appearance felt like watching a legend sit on the sidelines after retirement. Thrilling, but not like playing time. Social media became a scoreboard that never changed. No joint projects, no fan events, no celebratory moments. For a fan community accustomed to victory laps, it was a long period of silence, the kind that makes you rewind memorable moments just to remember its heyday. And then, just when people were ready to hang their jerseys in the rafters, the announcement dropped in 2024. Krist and Singto were officially reuniting in a brand new project, The X Morning. Cue the confetti cannons, because this was the buzzer beater nobody saw coming. It felt like Michael Jordan returning in '95 or Tom Brady announcing he wasn't done just yet. Fans who had quietly mourned the end of Krist and Singto suddenly had reason to believe again. The excitement was electric. Hashtags trended worldwide. Edits of their old Sodas clips were paired with sports anthems, fans describing the reunion as the championship parade we waited 4 years for. Even casual viewers, people who had moved on to other pairings, came back to see what the buzz was about. And in true Krist and Singto fashion, their chemistry slipped right back into place, like teammates who had never lost their rhythm. What makes this reunion so American in spirit is the comeback narrative. We love an underdog. We love when a team or a duo proves everyone wrong, reminding the world that legends don't fade, they reload. Krist and Singto didn't just reunite, they made a statement. The message was clear, the game isn't over. Looking at them now in 2025 feels like watching seasoned pros step back on the court. They're older, wiser, sharper, but the spark is still there. Fans are already calling The X Morning their second season, the sequel we never thought we'd get. And while no one knows how long this run will last, the important thing is that it's happening, and the crowd is louder than ever. For anyone who followed them from the early days, this reunion is more than just a project. It's a reminder of why we fell in love with Krist and Singto in the first place. The effortless banter, the steady trust, the kind of connection you can't fake. It's not just entertainment, it's history being replayed in real time. How does it feel, after years of waiting to see Krist and Singto back together again. And while you're sharing, tell us, where in the world are you watching this video from? Drop your thoughts in the comments because this comeback belongs to all of us. Some stories don't end with a bang. They fade into obscurity, leaving questions that echo like footsteps in an empty hallway. Tommy Sidachok and Jimmy Carn, the unexpected gems of YRU, are one of those stories. They're not the main characters, but they don't need to be. Every scene they share has a pulse, a quiet intensity that draws the viewer in. Fans don't just watch them, they study them, like detectives examining a case file, trying to catch every subtle smile, every furtive glance. Initially, the evidence was everywhere. The fan meetings, the cheers that erupted as soon as they stepped on stage together, the interviews, their laughter so natural it needed no rehearsal. Social media was awash with clips, theories, and the question that every great mystery begins with: what happens next? But then, almost suddenly, all traces vanished. No new projects, no duets, no fan tours. Tommy took on other roles, Jimmy carved his own path, and the duo faded into obscurity. No dramatic announcements, no sensational scandals, just a slow fading of the partnership. For fans, it was like watching the lights in a movie theater dim before the final curtain, and realizing the curtain would never rise again. The silence turned fans into investigators. Forums were awash with speculation. Were they contracts, creative decisions, or was it simply time that was pulling them apart? Every rare photograph, every chance encounter becomes a clue to be dissected through the lens of the fan community. The absence itself becomes a mystery, and the longer it lasts, the more suspense builds. In the world of American cinema, this is the classic noir setup. Two characters once tied together, now walking different paths, their paths illuminated only by memory. There is no villain, no clear evidence, just the haunting possibility that what was once considered inevitable was actually temporary. And sometimes, that is the hardest truth to accept. Yet fans can't let go. They revisit old interviews like detectives reviewing grainy security footage. They create montages that feel like unsolved montages, piecing together the pieces of a story that refuses to die. The hope isn't lost. It's still there, heavy and unspoken, like a final scene cut to black before resolution. Tommy and Jimmy may not have declared their end, but their absence resonates more than their words. And perhaps that's what keeps the legend alive, because mysteries persist when answers are withheld. Every time their names appear again, the question returns: will we ever see them together again? In the hazy glow of fans' memories, Tommy Jimmy remains a riddle. Unbroken, unconfirmed, just hanging in the air, like two characters frozen in a story that audiences refuse to close. And perhaps that's the most powerful ending of all. The ending that never really comes, the ending that leaves you guessing long after the credits roll. And now, as we close the chapter on these 10 unforgettable BL duos who no longer share the same stage or project, the spotlight turns to you. Which couple do you still hold closest to your heart? And which reunion would you dream of seeing in the future? Drop your thoughts in the comments and tell us, because this story doesn't end without your voice. We've come to the end of the show, but perhaps not the end of the story. These 10 couples, whether they've drifted apart due to contracts, management, or simply time, live on in the memories of every fan who laughed, cried, and believed in them. That's the power of BL. Even when the lights dim and the stage is empty, the connection remains. So if you've nodded in agreement, reminisced about your favorite moments, or even shed a tear thinking about what could have been, follow us. This channel is where we celebrate those stories, celebrate the magic, and continue the conversation. Hit the like button, Subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss our next posts about the world of Thai BL and beyond. And most importantly, keep sharing your voice in the comments, because this fandom isn't just about the stars on screen. It's about all of us, all over the world, who have come together to feel something real.